Welcome back to the Frankfurt Major Regional Qualifiers, and we're here after the first game, which, well, Lumi, you had a lot of points right for that game.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
We saw
Where do you want me to start?
With the things you were right? Just take it
Did you
away.
say Empire 2-0?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but in terms of draft, you were right. I mean,
I also said
that's
Sexy
right.
Bamboo was going to go ham, which he did.
And
Did
he
you?
actually did.
Weren't you just like
I said he was a
constantly
player
like,
to watch.
who knows? Maybe he'll do well, maybe he'll do
Game
badly.
2, Sexy Bamboo, like, and the best after
Okay.
game 1, and then he throws.
You were right in terms of heroes, but at the moment, Purge is the only one right in terms of who, like, would win the game. And it
well,
was
I did say 1-1, and after that game...
No, you said 2-1, and then you changed to 1-1.
Yeah, but it could definitely still be a 2-1.
Yeah. Do
Or
you,
a 1-1.
now that we've seen 4 Clovers at Empire first, do we just stick with your?
I mean, they played
prediction?
really well, honestly. I like their drafting. They allowed them for variability in lanes, which
Yeah.
made things really hard for Empire to pick, because then they're like, well, we have to make sure that all of our lanes can compete against a Tiny Wisp and against a Bane Mirana, and they're going to pick their solo hero for the last pick, which could go weird. So that's why I mean, I think Beastmaster was a great pick, and he's great in a 1v1 situation, but what if Beastmaster went to fit there? Their draft would have been in a really weird place. Like, I really liked what 4CL did that game. They played their lanes correctly. They played their heroes correctly. Everybody played great that game.
What was the story of the game for you, Slags?
I'm not a smart man, but when I see a Tiny go in with 0 chance of surviving and just beating people to death, Bambo, you did it, man. That's all I care about. Aggression. That Tiny was unbelievable.
There was actually so much aggression in that game. So before the game started, we actually talked about how important laning stage would be, and that from that point onward, you can roll over your opponent perhaps and get quick games going. Laning stage for 4 Clovers, they kind of switched it up with the lanes, maybe a little bit of unpredictability from their part, going with the aggressive tri-lane on the top lane. Or the dual lane, started on the dual lane and then rotations in to make it into a tri-lane and basically roll over their opponent.
Oh.
No,
We were actually already halfway in the draft as well. But from that point onward, like, was there anything that Empire could do? What could have done differently? Was it draft? Were they just flat out outplayed?
I think the strength of the 4CL draft was all these kind of skirmishes. If you look at the cooldowns of their heroes, right? Tiny has low cooldown, Mirana has low cooldown, Weaver has low cooldown, Bane has relatively low cooldown. And then compared to the other side, you have a Beastmaster Roar, you have a Winter's Curse, you have a Disruptor Ultimate, Static Storm. All of these are kind of one-shot wonder ultimates. You drop your best spell and suddenly you're not as good of a hero as you were before. And then you have this kind of run-at-you strategy that's kind of back and forth from 4CL. To me, that was 4CL realizing what their strategy could do, and they took a whole bunch of skirmishes. Yeah. The only time that Empire ever did well was fights around the Roshan, especially the first fight where they killed a Weaver twice through the Aegis.
That was good.
But then, again, the team fight went for like a minute and a half, where Tiny casted Avalanche toss like 3 times.
Yeah.
So...
And he came back into the fight after.
Yeah, I think to answer your question is that's what Empire needed to do, take more like real team fights where you could use your ultimates, win the fight, and move on. But it was kind of these like, hey, I hit you once, you hit me back, and Tiny's really good at that.
It was hard for them to take those. They had lots of disengages. 4 staffs, Glimmer Capes,
Leaps,
they have a Wisp, relocate,
yeah, they have so much.
There's so many ways that they could get out, so that was tough. But let's talk about the upcoming game.
No more IO, so that one's removed, so no Tiny at the moment as well. But we have seen, well, we've seen the clock now, so that's probably going to be Bambo's hero.
And a Tusk. Tusk also made it through. Tusk, Winter Wyvern, and a Clock. So they have 2 supports and an offlaner, basically. Winter Wyvern Tusk sounds pretty good. I like Clock Tusk. That sounds really good as well.
Oh, yeah.
And a Wind Ranger now. So that's going to be their mid, most likely.
So for Empire, we want to have them be maybe a bit more in control, stop 4 Clovers from running at them. I think Earthshaker is like the hero for that, as well as actually Rubik with the telekinesis. So I really like those supports. The question is going to be if Resolution is going to play that Earthshaker or if that Earthshaker is going to be played as a support. Which we don't know yet. Which I like, again, I like the versatility in a draft. Although, as I said before earlier, like was one of the first things I said, Resolution Earthshaker. Watch out for that one. Really hope to see that. What do you want to see, Slags?
Not Rubik.
No?
No. I mean, why did they pick Rubik on this one? You guys are smart.
It's okay against Clockwork, because when he cogs somebody in, you can lift him up and push him away. It's okay against Tusk as well, because it's an instant stun, so as he snowballs in, you can oftentimes lift him before he punches. But with
you can also lift people over the shards, ice shards.
Yeah, good point.
I think most of all is their comfort hero. Always want to fly really good on that hero. Picks out a lot. So, you know. Sometimes when you don't know what to pick, it's like, hey, I'm good at Rubik. Let's pick Rubik.
With what you said about Earthshaker being good at zoning their heroes, though, in some ways it's also not. Like we said about telekinesis, we've got Hookshot, we've got Snowball, Winter Wyvern can fly over stuff. Like, there's so many good ways for them to evade. Like, at least the fissure blockage is not going to be a problem. Like,
it has to be the stun only.
The stun only is going to be the solution. But it is pretty good versus Tusk. As he initiates, you can fissure him, you can telekinesis him, and I think that's really the crux of their fight is really Tusk right here.
Yeah. That damage, though. What are they going to pick to try to get rid of that Winter Wear? I mean, sorry, the Wind Ranger. I mean,
stuns are good. It's definitely not amazing. I don't really like Shadow Fiend versus Wind Ranger in my opinion because it takes so long before you're able to purchase an MKB. I feel like most of the time she's going to be a threat to you where you're not that much of a threat to her.
Right.
But at the same time, Pycat does play Wind Ranger quite frequently, I believe.
Yeah, he's very good at it.
Yeah.
So I also don't like the Dazzle pickup so... Or I think the Dazzle as a hero is fine, but picking up it right now basically says, all right, our Earthshaker is off lane, and that means 4CL could pick any carry they want and have good farm on it.
Yeah.
But the only offlane you can pick that really contests farm anyways is like Darkseer, unless you're talking about dual lanes.
No. My point is you hire your second support pick.
Why does that matter?
So they know it's not an off-lane shaker for sure.
Yeah, they keep it a mystery.
They keep it a mystery, so they kind of have to draft around it a little bit. Now they have a Slark, which again, like from the 4CL style we saw in Game 1, they love these kind of skirmishes, guerrilla tactic kind of stuff.
Ganking carries, basically. It's very good versus Soul Earthshaker, so the supports could very easily just ditch the lane when Slark is like level 3 or something, has a good level, like level 5. Big level advantage versus the off lane, send the Tuscan Winter Wyvern around to roam and just dominate your other lanes, which I kind of think they need to do because their lineup is not very core heavy. Like Wind Ranger is a strong core, but she needs to have a decent game, and Slark is kind of reliant on getting kills, but I think he can do that versus CS.
So we still have a Gyrocopter in the pool.
Really?
Right? Am I not seeing that correctly?
That's a little surprising.
No, it is still cool.
I think it's not amazing versus Wind Ranger.
No.
Because once she gets Focus Fire in like a Deso or a Daedalus, then it doesn't matter if you have BKB, like you just kill her or kill him. The old man won't do anything. I don't think it's very good versus Slark either. It's okay, I think.
But not too bad.
But once he ulties, you're just sitting around and
Doing
I guess you can call down him, but.
Can Phantom Lancer be a pick here?
It's a pretty
Get away from Tusk and Clockwork.
I think it's good against Clock. Shackle's pretty good against it, but I think it's good against Slark. You know what, I'm going to agree with that. I think it's a good
Whoa!
Minus armor.
Okay, there we go.
So I'm going to give you guys a new chance for this game. Now that you've seen the draft, who do you think is going to win?
I like 4 Clover's draft better. I don't think Empires really fits together that great. I think the Slardar's a little out of place. It's not good versus Slark, kind of. You can stun him, I guess, but he can remove your amp damage, which makes you a mediocre carry. So I'm going to say 4 Clovers.
I'm going to say Clovers, too. I mean, we saw that amazing aggression that they put out last time. This is one of the most aggressive teams I've ever seen. I mean, they're just going to pound them. So we got to see some major defense coming out of Empire. We didn't see that last time, so I got to go with Clovers this time.
Okay. What do you think, Louis?
I think Empire's lineup is really hard to play well, and they have to play well early because you have a Slaughter and an Earthshaker. Like, you need to make sure that both of those cores get online. I'm not sure whether they can. So I'm going to go with 4CL as well.
You're a flopper.
Okay, well, I will be devil's advocate and go for Team Empire. We're going to see what the casters think. So it's over to them for the second game of Empire versus 4 Clovers.
Thank you, Sheever. That's right. We're back with the dream team of memes. Of course, myself, Capitalist, joined by some of the moistest memers I know. Syndrin, known in his home country as the Dank Tank, and of course, Rascal the Rascal. Guys, what are your thoughts? Who's going to take this second game? That was the
intro you wanted for game 1, and then your mic didn't work.
I'm not going to just throw it in the trash. Jesus.
No one calls him the Dank Tank, let's be honest.
I mean, that's what he said, but I know Syndrin's full of flies.
Have you heard him before?
Yeah.
This guy's disgusting.
All right, meanwhile, in the game.
Oh, in the game.
Yeah.
I asked you guys a question. Who do you think's taking game number 2?
Empire.
I don't know. I actually do like 4CL's lineup a lot better. I just think that when you have a team that is... Okay, they had to do the same thing last game, then they have to do this, and they got wrecked. Pretty much.
The battle begins.
And that's how I see like 4CL they executed so well, that if they play the same game that they played in game 1, the Empire will probably just lose in the same fashion. Like, the skirmishing on 4CL is great. Not so good on Empire. They lack early game damage because they have Dazzle Rubik as supports. Slark is not going to have that hard of a time in lane against a solo offlane Shaker. That gives him free farm, which means that you basically need to crush mid game as Empire to win. And if you don't, the Slark will reach a point where he is pretty much unkillable.
I'm really with you on the supports. I'm not a big fan of the double defense combo. They just have no damage on the supports. But at least this time around, they do have an offlane Earthshaker, which I feel does a little bit more than what we saw from the offlane Beastman. It comes online a little bit earlier, at least. Synderen, you've watched a little bit of Resolution and his offlane. Do you think that can be a bit of a determining factor here for Empire that can change up the difference between Game 1 and Game 2?
Whether
Resolution can essentially have a larger impact in the first 20 minutes as opposed to, you know, the Beastmaster, which is a bit more farmy.
I think in this game he's going to have less of an impact than in the last one, because I think in the last game he had a very big impact. It just wasn't enough, but he was one of the most impactful heroes in the game, in my opinion. This time around he's going to get shut down a lot, but the difference for me is that the trade-off Empire will get this time is that unless this mid lane goes horribly wrong, Yoku should be getting good farm, and they should be able to stack. So this time their Shadow Fiend should be coming online. I think the top lane will also go better for them than last time, and most importantly, more important than anything, yes, as Draskell said, 4CL can try to play the same game as last game, but they don't have the extreme aggressive capabilities with this lineup that the last one did. I think the last one with the IO Tiny was able to put a lot more pressure on mid, put a lot more pressure in the lanes in general early, whereas this lineup they have this time around I think is way more farm intensive. Slark can't join very early compared to the Weaver. I think the Wind Ranger in mid is going to have a harder time than their dual lane last time, and there's also a lot of pressure on EGM, let's be real. This hero is great against heavy physical damage lineups like the one Empire has with Cold Embrace, but he can be gone in the blink of an eye if he gets jumped by anything. He just dies. There's very minimal defensive capabilities for him. They can try to catch him in Snowball, but that's it. It's very hard, I think.
Oh, Snowball bottom.
Snowball on to Resolution here. He will be able to get off the Fissure, but he's still blocked in by the Ice Shards, and that's going to last easily long enough. The Resolution will be your first blood, and they're going to make sure to give that over to Swift Ending for a great start.
So you mentioned something about Swift Ending not being able to fight that well early, but I mean, they do have a lot of disables, but I still feel like their damage just isn't there. Like, typically the thing that limits Slark from getting into a team fight is Burst, because he doesn't really have the best strength gain, so you're typically waiting for, like, you get a Shadow Blade, Treads Aquila, then you try to go for a pick, or you might go for like a Scotty after that, right, to tank up. But I don't think that outside of Yoku, Empire have enough damage to really scare him. And I know that 4CL love playing aggressive, even to the point where Swift Ending TP top last game at, what, like 7 minutes in or something like that. So I think they still might try that, even if Slark is maybe a bit worse at it.
Well, so far so good for him at least. He's sitting on 17. And I think this is only going to get better. With that first blood down there, I think we might see a Midas build up this time around for Swift Ending, perhaps, and he can look to scale very well. Oh, mid lane.
Yeah, Snowball to Yoku, but they don't really have the angle for the Shackle Shot just yet, especially with the rotation of the Dazzle. So there is also the factor that Slark's, like the last 2 patches, have been a lot more farm-oriented with the Dark Pack build. So, you know, he's already doing okay in CS right now. He's ahead of everyone else. And then combine that Dark Pack maxed out where you're really utilizing that Radiant side jungle, I think is a big advantage for Swift Ending as well.
That could be.
He's sitting on 1,000 gold. So this is when you buy Treads or Midas. It's going to say a lot about the game plan. I think the Slark's itemization in this game is very, very important.
Do you consider Midas that safe here? I think it's actually fine to go Midas in this situation.
I think because he got the first blood and he's got really good farm, it's definitely reasonable. But it does go against the idea of including the Slark early on in fights. I think a Slark with Midas against this dire lineup is super weak early on. You die to like 2 raises and a Fissure. So he has to be very cautious with his plays. And if they play more farm intensive, they're essentially giving space to a lineup that peaks in the mid-late game, right? Weave, Slaughter, and Shadow Fiend come online together around the minute 15-20. So that might be playing a little bit too much into Empire's hand, I think. We'll see.
Especially with the early Roshan that they should be getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bambo's actually getting quite a bit out of his offlane. Resolution's only level 2 right now. Could be dead again as well.
Yeah, Ice Shards does block him out, but they don't manage to hit the pounce, and Resolution walks himself away. But still, the pressure by itself, Resolution really doesn't want to be feeding any more gold to that Slark than necessary, and he's only left with level 3 compared to our offlane Clockwork, who's doing a bit better.
And this time, similar to last time, Empire will be stacking their hard camp. They've got a... Is that a 5 stack?
Let's see. 3 Centaurs, 1 Wildkin. Yeah, it's 5. No, 6.
right?
Wait, there are 3 big centaurs, 1 wildkin,
There's
and 1
Hellbear
troll,
and
an
troll.
Ursa. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
6.
right. This is a 6 stack.
And
right
it's
here.
actually spotted with Flare at the same time. But unlike
This camp, they have to get similar to last game.
yeah, but it's very hard for 4CL to
Yeah, they
contest
can't
this one.
challenge this time.
And by the way, the Slark did go treads, so. Oh,
Shadow
Yoku.
shot, but they do have the dazzle behind. Good ice shards. There's still the Shallow Grave in order to make sure the Yoku stays alive a little bit longer. He throws out the raise. He's got to be careful though. Pycat has that power shot ready to go. He dodges it beautifully. Turns on to Sox though. Unfortunately, he's away. Pycat is actually being run down by the dazzle, but it looks like he will stay 1 step ahead of him as well. So Empire unable to make that turnaround, but good dodge at least from Yoku.
I think Yoku made the wrong call there, trying to kill the Wind Ranger. I think he could have killed the Tusk when he went for the attack into Raise on... yeah, okay. Well, he's dead at the end.
Challenging the SF for that rune is going to get him caught here. All the right clicks. Yeah, they'll all land.
I think it's stack time for Yoku. He's almost level 7. He gets 1 more wave. They go and clear out the stacks, and he's going to get about... How much is that? A 6 camp here? It's like...
I don't know. That's
700 gold?
Yeah, I think it's maybe closer to 800.
Yeah.
Hard to say, though.
That's pretty big. So this is an Aquila Treads for him, and a little bit more in the bank, I guess, minute 6. He's doing way better than last game.
I believe the mech is still pretty much the build here, too, from him. It's really nice to be able to have, like, Weave on top of mech when you're pushing.
Yeah,
Shadow Fiend
sure.
in of itself is just good enough to be able to push with any lineup, so... He does finish up his Aquila.
This is probably a level 4.5 for Dazzle as well.
So clearing through that stack, what does Swift Ending actually spend his gold on? Because we mentioned the Tranquils, obviously, but I see he's down to no gold, so... Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, he did buy Treads.
Aquila.
Yeah. So Treads Aquila is a build for him. That was about 800, right? He had like 200 gold before? Or maybe he had more.
Yeah, I think he had 250. It was a 750-ish,
Okay.
I think. But that's still a big spike. You know, last game, Yoku wasn't doing very well at this point in time. Now he should be top of net worth. He also is.
Yeah.
Only 200 ahead of the Slark, though, who... went, yeah, as you said, Treads Aquila. I really agree with this choice. I think Midas wouldn't have fit the game plan. If you're trying to outgreed a lineup that has the easier time-killing Roche and the better mid-game, I just don't think you're getting away with it.
Now, if you're challenging for Roshan, that is obviously 5-on-5 team fight. We see a lot of Slarks, when they feel that kind of pressure to fight in those team fights early, they go for the SNY builds. Do you like that build, or do you prefer the Shadow Blade / Blink Dagger?
It really depends. Like, if you're taking skirmishes, I always think that Shadow Blade is better, so we're going to see Resolution help get a kill there on Bambo top lane. But I do feel like Shadow Blade is more conducive to their style of play here, as, oh god.
Yeah, no fear. Even if he does get out the Shallow Grave, I just don't see a way out for him, so... He will die without being able to pop that one. Pycat does manage to sneak the bounty rune in the top lane and gets himself out.
Notice a little detail there from Soxa. I think this was a really smart play. Shows a great amount of foresight, not using Snowball for that kill. I think a lot of players would have tried to get the Snowball just to prevent Dazzle from graving, but instead he says, okay, if you're going to grave and you get it off, that's fine. I have Snowball for whoever TPs into assist you and we get a bonus kill.
Yeah. It's
So
also
it's
very
very nice.
reliant on the shards actually landing, because if they don't land, then he has to Snowball.
Yeah.
So...
Swift Ending clearing through the jungles we were talking about earlier. Pycat is still doing all right in that middle lane. 3K.
Smoke.
Obviously, the SF's going to be way far ahead, but Empire actually going for an early smoke here. Is this the attempt to... I mean, they don't have the Slardar, so it's not Roshan. They're just going to go for a pickoff in the enemy jungle, it seems.
They can kill Slark with this if they land 2 raises.
Yep. And if nothing else, they can ward off his jungle. This is good. They're going to get both. He just used Dark Pact. This is a big issue for Swifting. He's dead.
Yeah, telekinesis,
Oh, the
Fissure, the combination. They don't quite have it. No raises out. And Swift Ending just starts frantically eating his way through the trees, but he's going to be perfectly fine. Now the Ice Shards actually grabs a couple from Empire. Cogs out. Yoku actually gets on the other side of that 160 Bambo. Not opting to take that fight, but they will go for Aloha Dance. The snowball in. Fissure keeping him some of the back. They managed to get the raise out, but a great shackle shot right onto Yoku. No fear. Needs to save him here with the Shell Grave, but the Winter's Curse actually controls both of them. They'll get no fear as well as he Shell Graves. TP's out. Doesn't look like they have any. Oh, missed out on the cog. Sexy Bambo just half an inch away from that pull to stop the TP out. Aloha Dance is going to be spotted by the Rocket. Yeah, they know exactly where he is. No escape for Aloha Dance. Still, I mean, even missing out on that kill on the Dazzle, still great fight for 4CNL and what should have been simple execution to kill the Slark.
There were a lot of uncharacteristic misplays in that fight.
Yes.
That was like 3 or 4 mistakes in a row across the two teams. So
the Fissure, like the very first thing that happened, like the Fissure blocked the pathing of the Shadow Fiend, so he was unable to get his double raise. So he had to walk around it and then get to the high ground to try to land it. And by then, the Fissure stun already wears off because it was only level 3 at the time. They actually had Hookshot and Winter's Curse for that team fight, whereas the Shaker and the Rubik were both not level 6. Bambo misses his cogs, and those were like super easy cogs, by the way.
yeah,
Like no one should miss those.
so they still, I think the overall end result is that they killed the Tusk, and then Empire lost 2 in return, one of which was the Shadow Fiend, right?
Yes.
It's a big win for 4CNL that, in all fairness, they really shouldn't have had there.
That should have been an easy Slark kill and then walk away.
Well, hopefully they don't screw this one up. They're going to go for EGM in the bottom lane. It's not really the biggest smoke kill of the century, but will be pretty simple, and maybe they can use this advantage to push out the bottom lane. I'm not sure if Roshan is really available to them, though, off of just a pick off on the
If they have mech, they can
Wyvern.
kill it, but does Yoku have it finished? That's the question. No, he's not.
No.
Not there.
That's the really big difference there. I mean, it's one thing you don't get the kill, but the fact that your Shadow Fiend dies in that gank attempt sets him back 2 or 3 minutes, because he wastes a minute for a kill he doesn't get, then he gets killed and loses gold, and then he loses time on the map afterwards. So a grand total of like... He could have had a mech now, I think.
Yeah,
if that kill was successful, he'd have a 10-minute mech and they would have taken Roche now. It's those things where you're like, yeah, well, they messed up. It was 1 or 2 kills, but...
But this definitely hurts because we now have a Blade Mail in the Clockwork as well. So you're talking about
How
not
is
only
he so
items missing on
farmed?
Empire, but the early Blade Mail. You said he's just going to disappear in some of these engagements. Well, now that Blade Mail is going to actually do so much, even if he does disappear.
Well, he did go for a very greedy build-up, or not a greedy build-up, rather a very... Oh, you could call it a greedy build-up, I guess, into the Blade Mill. Has only a stick and boots, no bottle, no wand, no other stat items at all.
But this actually, like...
But this is very good right now.
It crushes the SF and the Slardar. They're going to need like a lift out of cogs at that point to be able to save them. TP.
That's actually...
Are they really not going to get anything out of this one? Jump in. All right, the Slardar's going to catch 60 Bambo. He pops a Blade Mail, but it looks like he's just going to be run down. And unless he get... Oh, hook shot out from Aloha Dance. He'll get that kill. But the big one was that the Wind Ranger managed to escape in the process. So
they
again,
also commit like, what, 5 heroes to that?
Yeah.
So they're going to end up trading towers for a 5-hero commitment. I mean, it's okay for Empire. Like, they got a kill. If they didn't get any kills, I would say that wasn't even worth it for them, but they get something.
Yeah, I'm surprised Pycat is rotating top instead of trying to push down mid, but they might just hold the tower with the... No, they're not.
No glyph.
Maybe.
Oh, gets the shackle shot. Beautiful setup. EGM moves forward. He does have the Winter's Curse available. Aloha Dance turns and fights with the telekinesis, putting himself as the target. Resolution is forced to hit his own ally, and Sasha will combo with that one quite nicely with the Ice Shards. Looks like they're going to get that extra kill on Resolution. Shalgrave buys him some time, but a snowball into No Fear. They're going to try and chase down the Dazzle as well, it seems. Finally, we do have Resolution going down. No Fear escaping for the time being. 7 seconds still. The hook shot is back up, and No Fear just kind of showed himself. Jump forward, 60 Bambo looking for that angle. Will he be able to hit it with the hook shot? Oh, whiffs it there, opting to throw out the hook shot blind. No rocket to reveal that our TPing out Dazzle was not where he thought he was.
Yeah, that turned out to be a pretty good rotation from Pycat after all, because he landed that wonderful shackle shot. I think... So what they ended up getting was they got kills on one support and an offlaner instead of maybe taking 2/3 of the mid tower. I think that was realistic for him to claim that much of it.
But now they can just counter pressure top anyway.
Yeah, so I think this was definitely good, the way it turned out. And they're doing a very good job preventing Dazzle from getting key graves off. I think, again, he was looking to grave on the Rubik, I believe it was first, and didn't manage to get it off just because they timed it very well with Ice Shards into Power Shot. You don't want to grave a target that has 500 health, right? But essentially, if you're that clutch on your plays, then you have to grave early.
Now, it feels like, I mean, we were talking about earlier, Empire's lineup just a bit hard to execute, and it seems like execution is a big problem with them so far. At this point, they're definitely far behind for 4CNL. What do they need to kind of change it up? Is this the 5-man, go smoke and try and take Roshan? Is that the thing that really changes the outset for Empire?
I think their last smoke is going to be the most important play. They should have one left, right? Because they used 2 already.
Yeah, the one where they failed the gank.
Yeah.
The second one was bottom lane where they got a kill on EGM, so they should have a third one left.
So if they can get a good smoke, now that they have the mech finished, it's like easy Roche, like for sure, when you have Slardar, as long as the hero doesn't die, right? Like if he dies, then okay, you got problems. But between like Dazzle, Heal, Mech, you can easily take that. Maybe you can get another good fight after the fact. Once Slardar gets BKB, it becomes very difficult for 4CL to deal with him for a while. Like that Wind Ranger is going to need damage. The Shadow Blade just came up on the Slark, but that's still not like enough to really deter the Slardar, especially if he can get a Grave on himself. So there is a timing window that Empire can still hit, but it's very important that they win an engagement and get Roche. Like it can't just be one thing. They actually have to get like a lot to take the pace back, I feel.
I'm not completely sure I agree with that. I think if they just get Roche, even if they don't get a fight with it, that is still going to open up for them to claim another 2 towers. Like the tier 1 mid and the tier 1 bottom are still available. I do believe the game is running, by the way.
Yeah, back in the game we go. So, I agree, especially with the Slardar and how naturally aggressive he can be and the team fight power of the SF. Like if they're just able to kind of force those fights, it's very dangerous to go into that fight already with a Blink Dagger carry like that. You combine the Aegis factor in there as well, and it might just be a bit too much for 4CNL to willingly take those engagements.
The graphs right now are like a 500 lead for 4CNL, which I think favors Empire right now, because in my opinion, their lineup peaks at 15 to 20 minutes. That's when they have the mech. They should have an Aegis. They should be getting a fairly early BKB on Shadow Fiend, but again, he's been delayed quite a lot this game. He has 100 CS, and just now his mech is flying out. It's actually really late, but their lineup is going to start coming together right now, and if 4CNL don't get a perfect execution in a team fight, I think they just get run down by all the minus armor, by all the heals between Dazzle and the mech, and they'll have a hard time single targeting out anyone because they don't have single target burst. Their lineup just doesn't have it. Right. So all this spread damage they can do with like Power Shot, Ice Shards, Splinter Blasts, they can more or less negate it with a good mech usage and Shadow Waves.
So Draskell, do they just call it, split push and call it a day for the next 10 minutes or so?
I don't think they have to split push. I think it's just more like, if they're going to take an engagement, last game we saw them fighting like small skirmishes, they're always going to be okay with that. If Empire are walking around as 5 with the mech now, I think it's a little bit scary. And then obviously if you see them going for Roshan, you have to contest, but just like running standard gank Slark, maybe smoke up a couple of heroes, look for something, I think that's fine. I don't think you have to just play pure split push at this point.
All right, that was actually spotted out by Bambo.
Yeah. And that really hurts them too. Because this could potentially have secured them Roshan in of itself, like just getting a smoke into 1 kill or something.
That being said, the rotation from Empire is a little bit different than what 4CNL are expecting.
Yeah.
They're going to rocket Roche now, I think. Oh, they have a sigil there.
They've got the sigil ready to go. So, and they know that Empire, if they see that sigil, they know they have to go for the gank, but they're just going to hide behind their towers. And
now they are going deep for this. They know they need it. Okay, smoke's off.
This is very, very risky for Empire.
Yeah, Empire just going kind of all in here. The warp between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 towers. But again, 4CL just not showing.
This goes hand in hand with what you were saying, though, Sin. Is like right now is when they feel like they're going to be strong. And if it's even close to net worth, then they should have the advantage in the fight, assuming everything goes well.
Yeah, this is what Swift Ending should be doing right now. It's just split pushing top because at this point in time, Empire will just be running around circles looking for a team fight, and as long as they don't give it to them and as long as they keep Roshan scouted, it's basically a waste of time. I'm surprised Swift Ending doesn't just keep hitting this top tier 2 tower, because to be honest, what's going to really counter him? The moment they see Slardar mid, there's no real engage onto him.
Yeah, that's also a good point about Slardar in this game, is even during nighttime, you're going to see the fissure coming before it even lands. So even if you were to TP to like a tier 3 and Resolution goes for it with like not having blink, he's still going to get seen. I mean, that's a bit problematic, and the Roshan is scouted here by a flare.
4-man weave. Dazzle, Shaker in a really good position to just block off the path down.
Yeah, so even if they do get that opening, 3-man Fisher to start things off, but Roshan still needs a good chunk left. Heavy commitment here. Shackle shot onto 2. Managed to get the Winter's Curse off as well. Jump in with the hook shot. They're going to be able to lock down Yoku. Echo Slam gets laid out. They're going to focus on EGM, trying to take him out immediately. Nice bash, and that'll set everything up. Going on to Soxon next. Meanwhile, inside the pit, Yoku is going to be safe on the Shallow Grave. He's trying to get off the ultimate desperately to go up against 60 Bamboo, but holds on to a Shackle shot once again. Pycat just on the mark right now. Meanwhile, the Slark is going to be fading his way back in with the Shadow Blade, looking for the pick off on No Fear. Misses the pounce. Doesn't matter. The nukes are still enough. The buybacks, though, coming out from Empire. This is full committal. They cannot afford to give up Roshan here. Fisher blocks out Swift Ending, does have the pounce. He's going to turn on the Silent, it looks like, but now turns against Yoku instead. Kind of missing out on the pounce. Resolution trying to catch up, but he's going to be able to get himself to the trees, and Swift Ending starts getting that extra movement speed. Silent just can't quite get that pounce ready to go. Amplify damage to remove, but oh, it's just the Dark Pact brings him low enough for the Fissure to finish him off. Meanwhile, the SF, he's backed up the rest of the team. Looks like Empire will have their shot to take on Roshan. Snowball, he's going to go on to Silent here. The Snowball's not going to catch, and this means now Saska in a bad position. Will be able to get to a Walrus Punch. Now the Power Shot as well. The Slardar goes down. They turn once again. EGM Telekinesis stuns him up, but Yoku doesn't have the time to get out the damage to finish him off. And they're still going in with a Splinter Blast, harassing away at this SF. The long-range nukes, bit by bit, are chipping away at Empire. Now the hook shot in. They're going to go for Resolution, trying to lock him down with that battery assault. He's just being run down by the Clockwork. Ultimate about to go off from Yoku. Holds on to it. His Bamboo backs himself away. They take it out now with the Fissure and the Raise. Now the Telekinesis put him right up on the cliff. And Pycat stuck up there, left to the mercy of Yoku with the ultimate. Will be able to take him down with the secondary Raise. Double kill for Yoku. Empire all inning for Roshan. And it's still not over yet. ForceCNL coming back in with Swift Ending. Shadow Blade in. Goes right up into Yoku. Does have the Shell Grave in a second, but it's going to be able to save him just in time. Swift Ending stuck inside the Fissure. He's got nowhere to run to. The ultimate runs out. The Winter's Curse is there, but it doesn't do anything. No, it's disaster for ForceCNL. Walrus Punch in. Resolution the target, but the Shadow Wave, it just clears through him so quickly, keeping everyone of Empire alive. And that's it for ForceCNL. They finally call it Roshan is Empire's.
All right, well, I mean, they're still even throwing power shots into the pit at this point, but they can't do anything anymore. They've lost too many heroes, so after the 2 buybacks, it actually seemed like ForceCNL were going to get the better of that exchange because they ended up killing Silent at some point. And then Bambo, he extends a little bit too far into the river, gets taken out by a Fissure into, like, I think a double raise or just even a single raise at that point. And the thing is, when he came back in, he respawned, he popped Cogs, and then when he hookshot Resolution, he didn't have his Cogs up to trap him to actually get the kill. So instead of being able to trade his life for at least one person, he ends up dying. And then you lose the next person in line, which I think was Pycat, right? Because he got lifted up to high ground. And then one by one, they just start falling, and they didn't have the coordination it took to kick Empire out of the pit in the end. And that's a gigantic win for Empire, because when you have 2 buybacks like that, you absolutely need to win the fight. And thank God they did, because that was huge.
And the funny thing is, I think Empire could have just killed Roche.
Yes.
When they backed out from Roche, Roche had like a 7th of health, and he was amplified, and there was still a Fissure blocking the path for a good 2 or 3 seconds, but they got nervous that Bambo was going to hookshot in and cause them trouble. Guess what? He did anyway. And they didn't get Roche. They had to use 2 or 3 buybacks there, but the winning factor of that fight is pretty much just one thing, or 2 things rather. It's Shadow Wave and it's mech. If a fight goes for 2 minutes, you have 2 mechs, you have like 10 Shadow Waves, and you just keep negating the damage while dealing your own.
Cold Embrace, and they're going to get the Winter's Curse. Nice steal from Aloha Dance with the 2-man ultimate out from Resolution. It makes it a quick, clean fight, and ForceCNL, they may be falling apart now. Yoku with a Haste Rune is going to chase down EGM. Winter's Curse in around, and Silent is forced to go up against him. Complete whiff out from the Fissure, but still, they have the vision on EGM, and he's not escaping. That's another ultimate down for ForceCNL, and Empire having the time of their lives now, 20 minutes into this game, too.
Control of this game has completely been lost now for ForceCNL. Like, after the last, what, 3 or 4 minutes, including the Roshan fight, they lost the Aegis. They've given Empire like a 5,000 or 6,000 gold and experience swing. Like, this is a lineup who is supposed to be peaking right now, and you just gave them the best possible fight they could have asked for. I think right now, ForceCNL didn't necessarily want to play a split push game, but they might have to at this point.
They can't 5-man this at all. Especially not with a BKB on Shadow.
Oh, he's even going Crimson on the Slardar as well, so they just want to end the game like as soon as humanly possible.
If I'm Empire right now and I get the next Roche, I think the game... Alright, they still even have the Aegis, so they might even try to do it with this one. With BKB, Aegis on him, with the Crimson Guard on Slardar, I don't think ForceCNL have the damage. And it comes back to this Slardar. I can't blame Swift Ending for his itemization. I think it's perfectly fine, but it's just not the peak of the hero yet. Like, and even if, like, in some games, Slark is a weird hero, right? Because in some games, at minute 12, you're, like, crazy strong. You get a Shadow Blade, you run around, you solo kill people. In this game, you're playing into a lineup where Shadow Blade, when it comes to these 5-on-5 fights, almost doesn't matter. Like, you run in, but then again, you can't run in because you get caught by any single stun, and you just almost instantly die. So he can't 5-on-5 fight, but at the same time, he can't split push either because the hero is not good enough at that in order to put enough pressure on Empire to not play their game. So he's stuck in this very awkward position on that hero right now.
If that Roshan fight had gone favorably for ForceCNL, say they win, they get Roshan, then I think that build would have been a lot more threatening to Empire because they would be less incentivized to go for the 5-man after having lost a big objective like that. And maybe they play passive. That gives him the time that he needs to be able to hit his critical mass, and then he can just do whatever he wants after that point. But unfortunately for Forceal, that is not the case. And Resolution now has Blink Dagger. I think he was like 1,400 gold away before they started fighting Roshan, and now he's well on his way to a 4-staff even after having the Blink, so he's gotten actually 2 really good Echoes off without the use of Blink Dagger even before, so.
This game has the potential to end in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually that scary for Forceal right now.
Oh, Silent's going to make the initiation here. Nice 2-man stun. They're going to go straight for Pycat. No fears here as well. They managed to get the Shackled Shot plus the Winter's Curse. A little bit of a combo there. They try to control the Dazzle to make sure he doesn't get off the Shallow Grave, but now the Echo Slam. Resolution comes in big with 3-man Echo. Cold Embrace onto Pycat is only buying him a sliver of time. He's still blocked out by that Fissure. Turn, stun, and Slardar will finish him off. And now it's just seeing how many heroes they can catch as Aloha Dance came in with his Blink Dagger Snowball to get EGM as well. And it's only Swift Ending who stays alive because he wasn't even a part of the fight.
Honestly, good on him for not being there, because I don't think you fight Empire right now. There's just no way.
It's such a hard situation for Forceal, because you feel like you have to fight, and that the chance you win the fight is very low, but the alternative, not fighting, is probably even worse. Like, then you're just giving full map control to the enemy team and you let them push their base. They have to try for these risky plays where if they get a good fight, they can probably hold. I think winning a team fight inside their base is so difficult because it's very easy for Empire to position. They have multiple Blink Daggers, they will cast a preemptive Weave, they have Crimson Guard, they have Grave, and an Aegis, and a BKB Shadow Fiend with mech. Like, they're out of options.
Oh, hookshot in. What a big Cogs. They managed to get 3 inside of that one, but the Snowball is actually saving them. Meanwhile, Yoku gets off the ultimate. Silent pops back out of the Snowball. They're able to walk themselves away with a free kill on a sexy Bamboo. The rest of Empire stay intact, and the Shadow Wave starts keeping them away. Yoku gets back, and it looks like Empire going to make their initiation back in the Fissure. Kind of wrong side there. Pycat will be able to get himself away, but still, Yoku, well, he's lost his Aegis. He no longer wants to try and go for that melee racks, and Empire may just call it quits and wait for the next Roshan.
You know it's a very hard game when you get a 3-hero Cog, you get 3 or 4 Splinter Blasts off, and you still can't find a single kill.
Yeah,
they were missing Winter's Curse. Then I think that combo could have been really devastating. But it's because Empire let them, right? They put themselves in a really weak position where they could have been exposed.
The range rack so close to going down. Yoku.
They have such good spam, though, on Forceal.
Yeah.
Like, between Splinter Blast, Power Shot, even Shards, Hook Shot.
Aloha Dance does have the Snowball to save himself for some time. And the rest of Empire looks like they're going to try and go back in. Nice blink away. He's on the cliff, though. Fissure block out. Swift Ending's kind of in a bad position. He's going to have to pounce. Oh, the jump in from Silent block the pounce. Winter's Curse goes out. They manage to snowball Swift Ending over the Fissure, but an Echo Slam comes in. Bye-bye, Swift Ending. EGM's going to be up next. Stealing, what is that? Oh, well, the Gracious Shards comes out. Aloha Dance. EGM's left with no HP whatsoever. Jump in from Silent once again. He goes for 60 Bamboo. Can't get the support, but he'll take the offlaner instead while Resolution finishes up that other hero. 4CNL left with only a buyback on Swift Ending, and they can't afford to delay the Slark's net worth that heavily, but they're going to have to if Silent just continues to jump in aggressively like this. He's locked inside those tier 4 towers, but he's still got all the sustain in the world from this mech now coming out from the Dazzle. Doesn't have any mana for that one. Silent will blink himself away before the towers can finish him off. Empire take the laner racks, back themselves up. 4CNL will not fight them any further, but to be a laner racks down by 26 minutes is not a great sign for their game too.
Why the hell did Dazzle get a mech?
I don't know.
I think
he wants Greaves, maybe? I can't answer the question.
This is not one of those situations where you're like, oh, you were going mech too, because he's had it for 50 minutes.
No, I think Draskel's definitely onto something, because the Greaves being able to remove certain, like, I think that'll just increase the survivability of the Dazzle, because that Shell Grave's such a integral part.
What can he Greaves off here, though?
He's getting Tusk focus a lot, though, because if he's on low HP and he gets punched, maybe he just wants the armor for it. I don't know.
Well, then he could buy a plate mail.
That's the only look, I'm just trying to give the man the benefit of the doubt, okay?
Yeah, I'm done with, like, Ghost Scepter or something.
So how is it works? So mech has a cooldown of 65 seconds, but the internal cooldown on when you can get healed by mech is 45, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, if they hit that 20-second overlap, they have 2 mechs, right?
They already got 6 sustain. Now they're going to have even better.
And once he gets the Guardian Greaves, it'll go down to 45 seconds.
Yeah, because that's the actual overlap, right? Yeah. It's the Guardian Greaves exact cooldown is the overlap
45,
between mechs. Yeah. It's 40.
Oh, 40.
Is it 40? Oh, man, I can't remember. I feel like whenever you have Greaves ready, they always work.
Yes.
To heal. So, it's got to be 40, the internal... I mean, I don't know.
I gotta
and
mention
you're right,
one
there's
thing, though.
nothing you can cleanse
this
off.
This is strange. If there were, like, let's say he was against Skywrath or something, it would be like, okay, it's pretty good, you could purge that off. Then you could get Yules too.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
there's just so many alternatives that I feel like have more flexibility. It seems to more like miscommunication to me than anything. I like the idea of getting Greaves later when Shadowfiend needs to replace the slot.
Right.
But we're not at that stage yet.
Yeah, it seems like, is he going for Scotty next?
Yeah, I think so. He's got the point booster, yeah. But I wanted to... Yeah, Aghanim's.
Global
Shiro has no upgrade.
What is Shadowfiend's Aghanim's upgrade, actually?
Nothing.
No, but I'm saying, like, if you were to make one, what would it be?
Oh, Shackle Shot, Silent trying to catch EGM. Snowball will be able to save him. They can get off the Winter's Curse. Hopefully, the Cold Embrace buys them some time. They get the Walrus Punch onto Silent, trying to stop him. He's just desperate to stop that Winter's Curse. Will get the kill, but the Winter's Curse goes out, but it doesn't seem to matter. They don't catch anybody really important in Empire, just forcing 4CNL all the way back to their fountain. They do have the buyback, though, on the Winter Wyvern. They're going to try for this full-on 5-man fight with, well, the Dazzle's in an awkward position. Swift Ending trying to go for Yoko as best as he possibly can. Looks like the Dazzle going to be saved by the Snowball of the Rubik once again. Nice pullback. Aloha Dance just making so many plays with these steals. Yoku, awkward bit of ice shards. He's actually stuck here up against a cliff, but the team is surrounding him. They're going to be the counter initiation now with the Slaughter Dart, finishing up EGM once again, jumping in. Cogs pushback, Shackle Shot. What a beautiful play from Aloha Dance. He's setting all this up. Swift Ending will go down before anything else can happen. Silent lives as well, and it's only Pycat who maybe can get out of this situation. Shackle Shot, turn around. He's got Swift Ending coming forward after the buyback. Hits the Rubik a little bit, but with all this weave armor, Rubik looks to be fine, and the rest of Empire, oh, they're now getting away. The hook shot misses. Turnaround, Shackle Shot doesn't latch anything this time around. Telekinesis pulled back. They managed to get the stun onto Pycat. Chain shutting him down. Whoa! He's gone with the enchant totem hit real quick, and now Sexy Bambo locked in his own set of cogs is dead as well, and Empire will take game number 2. It was such a rough start, guys, but that Roshan fight seemed to have set everything up for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it was like the literal end of the game, but as soon as they got Roshan, what did 4CL do after that point? They commit a ton. I mean, that fight lasted so long that 3 people on the side of 4CL were able to respawn, go in, and die again. Empire bought back 2 heroes. They also had respawns. It was a crazy, hectic fight. When you have that kind of committal from both teams, and as Cinderin mentioned many times, it's Empire's timing in that particular point where it's good to have the Aegis, the mech, the sustain, everything all just kind of synergized at once, and 4CL really couldn't deal with it.
I think when you look at the way this game, the game flow, I don't think 4CL played worse. I think their spell usage in fights, I think their calling out, their targeting, the way they moved inside the fights was really, really high class, just like last game. For me, this is a strategic loss. Looking at Empire's draft, if 4CL don't get ahead in the early game, we are going to reach this point. I think if they replay the game and the first 10 minutes are the same again, they will lose again. 9 out of 10 times they will lose that game. So I believe that Empire with the Slaughter pick really sealed this game very well. It secured them Roshan. It was really good at just being a frontliner, right? That's essentially what you want against a lineup that has heroes like Clockwork, Slark, and Windranger. Right. Is that you can go in alone and you can just soak. If they go everything onto the Slaughter, you have a Shadowfiend who's free, you still have Grave, and Silent in this game was not scared at all. Yeah. Hey, it worked very, very well for what they were trying to do.
So Empire managing to pull out a tie here in this series up against 4CNL in the 2-game series. We have a lot to talk about for our analysts. Let's see what Shiva and the boys have to say about this game too.
Yeah, thanks, Captain. What a game that was. Indeed, a big Roche fight. Can we talk about that first? Because that was a really long fight. Yeah. That was the thing that I got was like, wow.
they got healed so often. They kept taking damage. Like the damage of 4CL at that point was really high with Splinter Blast and power shots and all these damage sources, and they just kept getting healed and shadow waved. It was like incredible.
I think that's when Dazzle's at his best. A lot of people think Dazzle's a very defensive hero, and he is. But Shadow Wave, when you spam that cooldown, he had mana because they have arcane boots all over the place. The positioning of the Dazzle was impeccable. I like how after the fight, they immediately got a Crimson Guard. And you essentially got Mech and Crimson. Your team is not dying. I think Slaughter got cursed and focus fired, and he was like, yep, I got Crimson on. I'm good.
Yeah. Normally, I don't like that item, honestly, but that game was pretty good because 4CL's damage potential, it really drifted off in the late game. Yeah. It's like a Winter Wyvern whose damage is good with Splinter Blast, but not that much higher. Other than that, they had a Tuskar who's very burst heavy and very cooldown reliant, and then their carry was a Slark who's not the highest DPS carry ever. He's more of like squirrely, ganky, stuff like that. And they just didn't transition their damage very well. Focus Fire is stopped by Crimson Guard active. It just damage blocks every hit, so it actually worked out really, really well once they got that advantage and they won the team fights there. Like all their items came together and they just death pushed, and there wasn't a whole lot 4CL could do there.
What is your favorite thing about the game?
Oh, me? Oh, man. That Sladar just came out fighting, man.
Sladar.
Sladar? What? No, it's pronounced Sladar. I'm pretty sure. 90%.
Oh, really? I know you're a lore nerd, so maybe you actually did the research.
It is absolutely Sladar. No, but came out fighting. I was very impressed. I was pretty disappointed by the Slark, I have to say. I mean, you know, very aggressive hero. I thought it meshed really well with their playstyle. And despite being seemingly perfect for the draft, I mean, he just wasn't very consistent. So, besides that, though, it was two fishes fighting it out. It was pretty sick.
Actually, commentators mentioned something about the item build from the Slark went for Shadowblade. Was that the right item this game, Lumi?
I mean, I think Slark Shadowblade's probably one of the best combination. The
In
reason
this game specifically?
Yeah, I think so. But the reason it didn't work out is because there was a 4-man Roshan fight. I think if the map was more like opened up, where you have Dazzle just trying, or when we have Rubik trying to get his Blink Dagger, that's where the Shadowblade Slark could, you know, pounce on him and get quick kills. But because everybody's so close together, the Shadowblade didn't work out. And you can't really foresee that, right? You don't foresee a 4-minute Roshan fight. So, I mean, at that fight, Blink would have been much better, but, you know.
We actually have got some updated standings now that we have, well, basically 2 series out of the way, because the one series was going on at the same time. And we can take a look at that, I believe. There we go. So far we've only had games in Group 1 and, okay, only
so
for
basically
Clovers.
this is exactly what we're talking
updates
about.
for Alliance versus
all right.
versus
Wow,
Slark.
Clovers and Empire went 1-on-1,
yes.
guys.
And the most important thing to notice about this one is that we were correct in assuming that it would be 3 points for 2-0.
Okay.
So this is actually really big, because even though, you know, it's good that both of the teams got to win, if there's one team now getting a 2-0, he will have a massive advantage over the rest of the teams.
What about the prediction where I said it was going to be a 1-1? Could we just talk about how that was right?
Sure.
And
how long
a flip-flopper.
how long do you want to talk about that?
20 minutes preferably.
Okay. I doubt we have that. Okay. Because we do have another game coming up, and the next game that we're going to watch is Empire versus Alliance. Ooh. So that should be a really good old-fashioned Alliance-Empire matchup. The game that's going on at the same time will be Team Liquid taking on for Clovers. So also that's going to be... It was a tough choice, guys. It was a tough choice.
Was it?
It actually was.
You got to go with the Lions. Come on. I mean, they play some pretty crazy stuff. And I'm excited to see if Empire can strike back against that. Hey!
It had to be said at least once.
Don't, come on, Purge. I'm sorry.
No. Return of the Liquid.
Yeah, Return of the Liquid or Empire striking back. Who knows?
Did you get it?
I got it. I was into it, but...
I'm disgusted with myself.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't even know how to deal with this, but that's okay, because we're going to take actually a short break, and when we're back, we're here for Alliance versus Empire.